The Scanz news scanner is a highly customizable, lightning-fast source for market-moving news. Let's start by looking at some of the customizations we can set up. To access some of the first customizations, we'll go to the Settings window. Here, we can see options to change the look of the news scanner window. So I'll go ahead and make the text a little bit bigger and make the cells a little bit taller to make it easier to read. That's all I want to change here for now, and then I can choose which news sources I'd like to scan. By default, they are all selected, but you can pick and choose whichever ones you prefer. For now, I will stick with the default settings and head over to the news scanner. Once we arrive at the news scanner window, there are a few customizations we can start making. First, we'll look at the News tab, and then we'll move to the Deal News and News Search tabs. On the News tab, you can customize your settings to find news alerts for the stocks you're most interested in. We'll start by selecting our markets. They're all selected by default, and I will keep those settings the same. Next, we can choose our stock types, and once again, I'm going to keep those all checked. You can also choose which types of news you'd like to be alerted to. We have news, we have SEC filings, and we have promos, which are kind of like press releases, but not always on the most important wires. Once again, I will check all of these off and we can move to the next step. You can add as many price and volume filters to your news scan as you would like. So for example, if I only want to find news on stocks below $20, I would set a price cap of $20. I will also add a volume filter of 1 million shares. This will ensure I'm getting news stories on stocks that have the liquidity to make for an interesting trade. And I can go ahead and filter these now. You can add more filters if you'd like, but we're going to start with the basics for now. Last but not least, you can set up a keywords filter if you're looking for very specific types of news. For example, if I wanted to find earnings news, I could add earnings, and then I could submit this, and it would show me any news related to earnings. I'm going to remove that for now, just so we can see as many results as possible. Notice that the results are sorted by time, and anytime a news story hits, the results will be updated in real time. If we click on any of these rows in the news streamer, we can see the full article. Simply click on the headline and you will get details of the article itself. We can see a few examples as we go through. Now some of these will link out to a promotional site because we have the promo newswires on, and similarly the SEC filings will take us directly to the filings on SEC's website. We can also customize the columns for the news scanner. We can resize columns, delete columns, and add new columns. So I'll make the symbol column smaller, I'll add more room for the headline, and then I'll start adding a few custom columns. For example, I'd like to see the change for the day, so I'll add % change and move that column next to the price. Now I can see how much a stock has moved on the day, its volume, and its last price. This is helpful so I can differentiate between news stories that may have an impact and news stories that may not. For example, a stock that's only moved less than 0.5% on the day is unlikely to experience the volatility we'd like to see in a momentum trade. That said, I can see this stock is making a move of 16%. I can see this stock is making a move of over -26%. And so I can keep that in mind as I continue to see the results flow in. You can add as many custom columns as you'd like, and once again, you can choose from a range of different technical and fundamental indicators. Let's navigate over to the Deal News tab. This is basically news that is categorized as being an event related to some type of deal. For example, we have mergers, we have earnings, we have FDA approvals, we have partnerships, and this tab can be great for finding the important news stories. For example, on our regular news tab, we have a lot of different news. We have filings, we have promos, and we have basically any news story that hits our scanner. Under Deal News, we can see that there's federal contracts. We can keep scrolling. We can see a quarterly dividend is declared. And this is basically a more filtered version of our previous news tab. Once again, you can click on any of the headlines to read more about the news story. Let's navigate over to the News Search tab. The News Search tab is a simple way to find the most recent news stories for any stock you're interested in. So if I type in Apple and hit enter, I can see all of the latest news and filings for Apple. If I only wanted to see one type of news, I could select that. So I can switch between news and filings. I can also choose which date range I'd like to analyze. So for example, if I'm only interested in news stories that hit in the last 2 days, I will set the 2-day filter and the results will update. In this case, we don't have any, so I will set a broader filter for 2 weeks, and now I can see some of these news stories flow in. You can open as many different news windows as you'd like, and a lot of traders like to separate their news tabs by different types of news. For example, you may create one window for OTC news and another for NASDAQ news. You could have an earnings news window. You could have news windows for specific keyword alerts, such as earnings, or if there's a hot sector like cryptocurrencies, you may create a news scanner just for that. Either way, the possibilities are endless and the streaming results are lightning fast. Go ahead and load up the Scanz platform so you can start testing out the news scanner. Of course, if you have any questions at all, just reach out to our support team by email and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.